The Book Thief is the latest in a string of wonderful movies starring Geoffrey Rush, who joins us this afternoon in a very busy schedule. Geoffrey Rush, good afternoon.
Dennis, hi, how are you?
I'm very well. A busy time for you. I saw you introduce the movie Monday night at the Rivoli, but you're promoting the movie and then heading to G'day LA, I'm told.
Yes, at the end of the week. It's kind of an enjoyable treadmill.
Yeah, and it is hard work, not only making movies, but promoting them.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the Rivoli because it was very exciting. The film opens in Australia tomorrow, and it's kind of home ground for us because we've been all through America promoting the film. But because it's based on Marcus Zuzak's novel, which I think is, he's up there with Tim Winton, Peter Carey, Patrick White. I mean, he's an extraordinary young novelist. He's still only in his late 30s, and I think this is a masterwork. And to be screening the film with promotional previews at the great cinemas like the Rivoli, and then last night we had the Randwick Ritz, which I think is one of the last surviving. There's 830 people in the cinema, and tonight we've got the Cremorne. So these older cinemas that still have big rooms, and they're all pretty much independent cinemas, well, Rivoli's with Village, and they were sold out. So it proved yet again that even if it's the fan base for the book, which has been so popular, sold 8 million copies, I think, in the last 6 years or so.
It gives us also...
Really thrilling for us.
It also gives us two Australian connections, The Book Thief, written by an Australian, and now you starring in the movie.
Indeed, and Michael Petroni, who's done the adaptation for the screenplay, is also Australian, even though the story, of course, is set in a small town in southern Germany just before and during the Second World War. The genesis of the book, and hence the screenplay, came from stories that Marcus had heard during his teenage years from his parents, who spoke and told thrilling stories and adventurous stories about their parents during the Second World War. So there's a nice connection, I think, for his Australian imagination to have taken all this on board when he was such a young man.
A fabulous story. I don't want to give too much away of it, but a beautiful story of a young girl's love of words set in the horrors of Nazi Germany. And I love that immediate connection between your character, Hans, and his adopted daughter, Liesel. It was immediate on screen and really engaging.
Oh, well, that's good. That is a fairly vital ingredient because this young girl, the film starts with a fairly dramatic opening. She's fleeing across Germany with her communist mother, and her 6-year-old brother dies on the train on that journey, and they have to bury him on the side of the railway track, which is pretty gruesome and pretty tough on the family. The mother gets taken away, and the girl gets put in with a German couple as foster parents, and through grief and illiteracy, that's where the bond is struck up, because she steals a book from the makeshift gravesite of her 6-year-old brother. There just happens to be one that fell out of the grave digger's pocket, and it's the grave digger's handbook. That's where she first starts to read, and she becomes passionate about language. And I think it's on her journey to young womanhood that she wants to find out what the world is about, because what's going on around her is this fanatical ideology where words control people and restrict people, and she senses in them that there's a greater resource, a greater potential for her own imagination to flourish.
The Sophie Nélisse, who plays Liesel, what a star.
Well, she's such a phenomenal young girl, and I'd seen her in Monsieur Lazare, which she made when she was 10. That's the only other feature film she'd been in. Again, pretty tough material. It's about a group of kids in grade 6 who come back to after the holidays, to find their teacher, their beloved teacher, has hung herself in the classroom. And so it's the impact of that suicide on the kids themselves and the community and the parents and the staff. And Sophie's performance, when I saw that, I was just absolutely blown away that how can someone have such a fantastic fantastic natural gift for very truthful and very engaging sort of act. It's not child acting by any means, you know.
She, it's just every moment that she's on the screen, and particularly the scenes with yourself, are extra special. Nico, I'm going to pronounce it Lersch as Rudy.
Yes,
he was spectacular as well.
Yeah, and the great thing for us is that Nico lives in the town that Marcus had used as a model for the town of the fictional town of Malkin in the story. Nico actually came from that area, so because of the film being in English and we're working with a kind of gentle German southern German accent, with Emily being English and Sophie's first language is Canadian French, and I'm Australian, and Ben Schneider, the boy who plays Max, is American, and then we had all the German actors who could speak very good English, but they were speaking with their natural German accent. So Nico was the go-to guy because we thought if we're going to capture that Bavarian quality, this 12-year-old boy sort of became our touchstone. It was very interesting.
It's a fabulous film. The Book Thief, I've said on Twitter today, it is a must-see movie. I know you have to go, but I just wanted to ask you something that is away from The Book Thief. You love this city of Melbourne. That's been evident so many times. But I did a broadcast from Fed Square just before Christmas, Geoffrey, and I was looking at Flinders Street Station and just marvelling at what a beautiful building it is. All sorts of plans for it. What does Geoffrey Rush want for Flinders Street Station?
Look, I gather somewhere inside that building is a very old, ramshackle, decrepit ballroom, and I think, a great public space like that to be reconstituted within the style of that magnificent piece of architecture. I mean, I think we all got to see it. Once they opened South Bank, I don't think many people went across the bridge there and looked at that building, but it has got such a glorious late 19th century quality to it. Something like that would be fantastic. I was away when all of those, I think there were 6 chosen finalist plans for speculation. I don't even know whether they've got the money to go ahead with it, but I hope they don't alter the fundamental structure of it.
Geoffrey Rush, thank you for being on the program, and congratulations on The Book Thief.
Thanks so much, Denis.
Geoffrey Rush, it is a fabulous movie, it's a fabulous book, but the movie is equally engaging.